Welcome to today's video where I'm going to show you how I turn old deck boards and scrap wood into a planter box. At this point in the project, I've already cut my wood to length and I'm running them through the planer. The size of the wood, the lengths, the dimensions are all based on what you have available and the space you're trying to fill. Here I'm using a table saw to clean up the edges, cut them all to the same width, make them more uniform. You could also use a joiner for this process. And the final step in preparing the wood is to give them a quick sand. I'm using a palm sander, sanding table, and 100 grit sandpaper. Using a level surface and a carpenter square, I'm marking where I will later drill the holes. Once I have my holes marked, I'll transfer those marks onto my other boards. Using the drill press, I drill all 40 holes. Notice the painter's tape at the end of the drill bit. This is to ensure that the depth of my holes are all uniform. And now it's time to put all those pieces together. I start with the 2x4s and the 2x6s, making the 4 legs. Notice how I align them. Glue, clamp, pre-drill, and screw them together using 2.5-inch exterior deck screws. Here's a tip: use a scrap 2x4 on its side and you'll get an even 3.5-inch gap all the way across the bottom. Place that bottom rail on the scrap 2x4s and drill it in for a nice level bottom. Place that same 2x4 flat for a 1.5-inch gap, dry fit the 2 sides, and then secure your top rail. Also glue, pre-drill, and screw. Now it's time to attach the 1x6 sides. No glue this time. If you ever need to replace them, switch them out, it should be pretty easy to just unscrew and replace. I am pre-drilling, and I am using 1 3/4 inch exterior wood screws. Before you can connect the two sides together, making your box, you want to make sure that your box is square. To do this, you measure corner to corner, making the necessary adjustments until both measurements are exactly the same. Here's another helpful tip. Instead of measuring and trying to make the distance between each board equal and even, I found a 1/2 inch scrap piece of wood, and I placed that 1/2 inch scrap between my two boards, making sure that the gap between all of them is the same. You also notice that I ran out of 1x6 deck boards, and I had to find an old pallet, bust that pallet up, and I'm using the pallet boards for the bottom base of my planter box. Now I'm cutting up a 1/2 inch dowel on my bandsaw to fill those 40 holes that we drilled earlier. Using a little bit of wood glue and a dead blow hammer, I tap the dowels into the holes to cover my screws. After it dries, I use a flush cut saw to trim the dowels. And then finally, I use my palm sander again, along with the 100 grit sanding disc to make everything smooth. Now that the planter box is 90% complete, I need to preserve all that wood, and for that I'm using boiled linseed oil. An added bonus to this project are the composite board scraps that I found. They fit perfectly, and these boards will never rot. You'll also notice my 1/2 inch spacers again. Save your scraps. You never know when they'll come in handy. And there you go, the completed project made from 100% upcycled wood, with the only cost being a little bit of wood glue, a few fasteners, and a dowel. Thanks for watching.
Like and subscribe.